All right, so usually Tedertainment Tonight. I mean, Ted, you probably do down below. You're looking at your notes. You probably got about 9 things you've been watching.
I got bullet points. Yes, I
we haven't
do.
done Tedertainment Tonight in a couple weeks, but I just want to mention a few things that we've been watching. So, a few weeks ago, you mentioned a documentary or a show that you watched about a whole artificial fertilization sperm bank situation going on. But there's a documentary on Netflix, Our Father, that I would recommend. It's interesting. It's kind of a little scary, a little dark, a little twisted. Basically, I'll give you the gist, not to spoiler alert. It's been out for a little while. So a doctor in Indiana, I mean, the story, obviously this happened like 20 years ago. So the story's out there, but a doctor in Indiana, he's the one that would perform the fertilizations for women who had to come in, and they were having trouble getting pregnant, and it was a sperm bank. So they had donors. He ended up using his own sperm often, daily, and multiple times a day. And come to find out, I forget the number off the top of my head. It's pushing 100. He has over 100 kids, and a couple of the kids, took this, started taking this very seriously, and wanted to press charges and do all this stuff. 23andMe and all these services come out where you can see your roots and find your your lineage and all that kind of stuff. And they started getting all these matches, and a lot of them are in the same county or the same area. So it starts getting a little scary for them, because they're like, they have all these half siblings. Am I married to my half sibling? Did I date my half sister? In high school, there's all this kind of stuff, and you worry about incest and everything. And the weird part about it all is it came off like the doctor, because they did end up meeting him face to face. Like 15 of the kids met him face to face. Came off like he didn't care. It came off like he was doing this as like a social experiment. He was doing it. It came off like, so when they met him, he started asking like, what do you do for a job? What do you do for a job? He was almost like testing, like, who did I win with? Ooh, I matched you with this one because you are like a doctor or something. It was just super creepy. And to hear that you had a similar show that you watched, and apparently, like I looked it up, this is not an uncommon thing. Nowadays, obviously, yes, they track this stuff a little more. But back in the day, doctors used to do this all the time. If they performed these operations, there was some sick stuff going on. They probably had some sexual pleasure involved, and they would just do this stuff. And it's like, how can people do this and think it's okay? And along those same lines, where my wife and I were also watching the Dahmer show on Netflix. How can people do this kind of stuff? And just to close my portion up, I would recommend it because it is very well done. The actor playing Dahmer is incredible. I read that he had to decompress after they filmed the show because he was like, I feel like sick. I have to get away. The show is creepy. If you know the story of Dahmer, it's very creepy. So it makes sense. My wife is only half watching it because she's creeped out by it. So, but if you can handle that stuff, which I know, Ted, you can, it's a very good show to watch.
It's Evan Peters as the actor. He's been in a lot of stuff. American Horror Story. Never Back Down. He was actually a comedic actor in that movie, which is a movie I watched when I was a little kid. I don't understand these shows. I never have.
True story.
Ted, you will sit there and shit on, Call of Duty as, rotting kids' brains. This is on Netflix for your grandchildren to watch at the palm of their hands, man. This is the type of weird stuff that we watch nowadays. Why do we have to? Why is this even a show, Matt? You can maybe explain or defend it. What do I need to relive the Dahmer trilogy for? He's a weirdo, man. I don't get this serial killer thing. It's everyone. It's not just you guys. Everybody. There's a reason it's so popular. There's a reason it's got big name actor Evan Peters as the lead. What is the appeal to this stuff? I've never gotten into Law and Order. Never gotten into SVSU or SVU or whatever it is. Yeah. I've never understood these things. Please explain it to me. Ted, you love it too, so you can.
I'll say real quick because I already gave my spiel before Ted. That's like obviously what goes on is pretty sick. Obviously, that stuff. It is. I keep saying creepy. It's creepy. It's the psychological part. I think the like what happened to make this person so sick, and how did they get away with it for so long? And especially the ones that happened in the 60s, 70s, 80s. It's interesting to see like the the FBI, how they handled it, police, how they, investigated. I like all that background. I think the background stuff is very interesting. What made this person so sick, all that kind of stuff.
Matt, that's right on. That is the
Yeah.
whole appeal to people that watch. I say like, I mean,
Right.
but it's a weird word to use, but I'm into it. I mean, my wife and I both, and my wife is one of the most meek women in the world, but why do you think Dateline's been on for like 20 years?
I don't know.
48 Hours has been on for 20 years. I mean, 2020 started off doing different pieces. And once they came across the murders, it's the whole backstory and why do people do this? And it's a sociology. I can't say the word, but it's just how people operate. How do they think? How do their minds go? And these big time serial killers, those are the ones that are, to me, the most fascinating, like the Dahmers, like the John Wayne Gacy's, like Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
Infamous, because first of all, they get away with it, a lot of it. And then how do they do this? How do they plot this and do it for so long? It's unreal.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I am curious about it. I don't need to do more than read a little Wikipedia thing on Dahmer. Man. The guy was a nut. There's nothing else to it. There's no event. He's just a nut. And I don't need to see him drilling into somebody's head and pouring acid into it to know that.
Calling him a nut, that's saying it lightly.
I know what I know. The guy.
You know what, Jared? That's fair, man. We all like what we like, and I can see your point of view too. These people nowadays that it's just like a thin red line politically. Either got to believe this or you got to believe that. I'm one of these guys, and I think all three of us are pretty clear-headed. If you got an opinion on something like that, that's okay. I'm not going to try and make you watch this stuff, but
like I said, I know. I mean, it's all over the news. It's all over social media. It's all over Netflix. I know I'm in the minority, but there is no bone in my body that wants to turn that on and watch it.
Yeah.
One, I'd be too scared to probably watch it by myself too. I just don't.
That's
I don't
one.
want the feeling of uneasiness the rest of the night. While I'm trying to watch Sunday Night Football, I just don't get it.
You'd rather watch. You'd rather watch.
Dead.
Yeah. Know that he's not around anymore.
Yeah.
You'd rather watch documentaries like The Redeem Team, the one that came out.
Exactly.
Which I haven't got to yet, but
me neither. But I thought about that today, Matt. We've had that discussion before about the Redeem Team or the Dream Team. Let me look at it this way: who would beat who? Right? Probably the Redeem Team would beat the Dream Team, if I'm being completely honest, at that stage of their careers.
Right.
But I would hedge my bet if I said you took the prime Dream Team against the same prime Redeem Team, then I don't agree. I think the Dream Team would be better. Is that a fair statement, or is that on the fence?
Yeah, no, I think if you did the prime and the prime, I think it's almost a flip of the coin.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of people forget that Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, a couple other guys, they were a little past their prime. MJ,
Indeed.
Barkley, some of those guys were in their prime, so they were good. To me, we've had this discussion. It's all about today's players are just so much better. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. And I know, Ted, you don't agree. The old school guys don't agree, but I just think overall, they would run them off the floor. They would just
but the Redeem Team wasn't that far removed from the Dream Team era.
Like 20 years,
I will say
20 years, was it?
I can't I can't say that like you said, both were in their prime. I can't say that the Redeem Team would beat them. I don't know. I'm not a smart enough basketball mind.
Yeah.
Especially when you got Jordan, man. He's almost like all bets are off. Maybe they still would beat him, even if they're not in their prime with Jordan. I don't know. But the Redeem Team, man, this doc, I haven't started it yet. Just dropped I think on Friday night it came out. I'm intrigued, man. It's 10 parts, which makes me think that it's gonna be a little bit bloated. I don't think we need 10 part on a team that was around for like a month. I don't think we need 10 parts on it. I mean, we had 10 parts on Michael Jordan's entire career. So that's a good little thing to base it off of. But I'm excited. I think there's going to be a lot of cool, behind the scenes type stuff. I mean, that was right when iPhones were kind of starting to come around, video cameras, a lot more stuff is kind of recorded at that point than if we had a documentary about, the Dream Team. So I'm excited to see, some of the behind the scenes stuff. So I can't wait to see our review on that in a couple weeks. I'll have one next week for us at least. One show that I'm up to date on. Ted, you are not. Matt, you have sworn off of Game of Thrones in general, so I know you're probably never going to watch it.
He's not watching.
Also, The Dragon. It's a great show. Great show. Just started watching it a couple days ago. Caught all the way up, basically to tonight's episode. I think it might be better than Game of Thrones. one, look at the budget. I mean, you just compare it to what the budget was for like Game of Thrones when it first came out. Nowhere near. I mean, 200 million was put into this season of this show. And I could say maybe Game of Thrones is maybe better as a whole, but if you take season 1 of Game of Thrones and season 1 of House of Dragon, it's not even close. House of the Dragon almost picks up as if it was like season 5 of Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that's cool about this show is Game of Thrones is all over the 7 kingdoms, all these different stories, all these different people. This is just all in on the Targaryen dragon family, basically, as they are known in the show, which is Daenerys is what she was. She was a Targaryen in the original Game of Thrones. The acting in the show is great. The amount of dragons in the show is incredible, and there's 17 different ones. Ted, I know you've seen the first few episodes. I mean, Daemon Targaryen, played by Matt Smith, just jumps off the screen. I mean,
he's good. He's good.
He's great. The King's a great actor too, as well. Mm-hmm. Patty Considine, I found his name.
Yeah,
but it's got all the stuff you love about Game of Thrones, but it's not all over the map. You feel like you really know these characters in this show because it just sticks with this one family. There's all the great dialogue, the politicking, and the battles, of course. It's just a great show, and I'm loving it every second of it. Ted, I can't believe you stopped it for 3 episodes. I don't know how you didn't keep rolling.
Well, there's a lot on my plate, but I agree with. I'll catch up to it probably in the next couple of days. It is really good, and I'll just you said enough about it. I'll just add that what I always say. It's HBO, so I mean it's good. You know, that's all there is to it. My segment, I got a couple things. I normally would bring it up in the catch-up portion of the program, but I continue my YOLO tour and went down to Little Caesars last week and saw The Who with 2 of the original members, Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey. I don't know how many more dinosaur shows I'll attend, to tell you the truth, though. We got tickets. They're $100 tickets, but they were up high, decent seats, but not great. But it's $100, and if I want to go see live music, and these guys are definitely up there in age, and they had a few technical problems at Little Caesars. I mean, Daltrey's microphone, he had some issues with it for a couple songs, and Townsend, who is legally deaf, he had an issue with his. He had his headphone thingies in, and he was running through the Bluetooth on his iPhone, and he was having problems with that. But on the plus side, they played all their hits.
I was gonna say,
no, that was the negative. I was really looking forward to seeing them. They had a full orchestra with them. They played a whole complete first set with the orchestra backing them, which was fantastic. Then in the middle, they sent the orchestra away, and then they had their band play, and their drummer, by the way, their drummer from before was Keith Moon, one of the best rock drummers ever. Well, the guy that's the drummer now is Ringo Starr's son, Zach Starkey. And this guy is the real deal, man. I can't tell you, when we were watching the band, we were focused on the drummer. I don't know about you guys. I really think a drummer does drive a good rock band. But anyway, the band played in the middle section, and then the orchestra came back out at the end. They finished up with Baba O'Reilly with the big violin, virtuoso, and it was tremendous. It's the only show I've ever been to, though, with a big time concert. With no.
Do you know what is that song most prominently known for? Baba O'Reilly,
some television show, I'm guessing.
Joey Chestnut's entry music.
Oh, it is.
It's incredible, man.
It's a great song.
Just for that reason.
It's a great song, man. And they played it well. But overall, on a 3-point scale, I would say it was probably 2.2, with the technical difficulties, right. And, the vocals were a little off at times, but it was still a good show. And I'll share this with you guys. You go to a concert and you kind of make friends with your seatmates next to you, and these 2 ladies came in and sat down, and this one older lady was sitting right next to me, and she's going, will you video this one song for me? I don't think I can handle it. And I said, sure, I'll do it. And so, like, the second song in, she hands me her iPhone, and I'm holding it up there, going, Jesus. So I'm holding it up there, videoing it for her, and then I give it back to her after the song. And now
this sounds like hell, man.
I was a little annoyed, right? So anybody out there that's a Howard Stern fan, she sounded just like Tanman, one of his whack packers. But anyway, about 3 songs later, she nudges me to hand me her phone to video record, and I said, listen, you can handle it, babe. And I turned away Ignored her the rest of the
Dear
time.
God, man, this sounds. I'm sorry. I'm. I was all in on your YOLO life journey, but this sounds like hell. This might have scared you back into your house for the next few weekends, man.
Yeah, no,
Well, you gotta stick to the Chi-Town shows that are a little more
yes.
a little more intimate. Floor seats basically.
Yeah, and
Everyone
$7
does,
to get in, and we
right?
had free tickets.
I
So
get a picture of you like you're probably so you I know how you probably operate. You're probably so excited to see who you're gonna be sitting next to. The fact that you're already going into this older band's like concert, you're probably just hoping that there's like some young fellers like next to you just to kind of liven it up a little bit. You sit
Yeah.
down, you see two 80-year-olds next to you, man. It probably took the wind right out of your sails.
well,
Probably took the
not
wind
quite
right out of
that
your
old, but they were annoying because I'll tell you this: there was two women came together, and I went with my brother-in-law Joe Smith, and he got up to go to the bathroom or something. She was trying to wave him down to buy her a beer.
Oh,
I mean,
geez.
come
Dear
on,
God, man.
get out of here, right?
Right.
Leave us alone. But anyway, the opening act was pretty good. It was a guy called Stephen Page, and he was one of the founders of the Bare Naked Ladies, and he was playing
Yep.
some Bare Naked Lady songs, real good.
Nice.
So
That'd be cool.
that was good. Overall, the night was decent. I will finish up on music. Just a music review here. I watched a documentary on Showtime called Nothing Compares, and it was about Sinead O'Connor.
Uh-huh.
Do either one of you guys know who she is?
Yeah. She sang that song, and Prince wrote it. And
Prince wrote it, yep. And then she became very controversial because she was on
Right.
Saturday Night Live and ripped up a picture of the Pope, right?
Yep.
Well, this documentary was absolutely fantastic. It painted the whole picture of her rise through the career. She was an Irish singer, kind of like Bono of U2, and she got abused as a kid, and it had something to do with the Catholic Church, and you got the whole background about what she was all about. And I would highly recommend if you're a music fan, especially from that era. It's on Showtime. Sinead
What was
O'Connor.
the one Prince song she sang?
Nothing compares
to you. Yeah.
Oh, I
The
don't
one
know.
that made her famous.
Yeah. That's a great song.
It is.
So I watched that, and then I did watch one more music documentary. Just watched it last night. I was flipping through Netflix, and the ZZ Top documentary was really good.
Nice.
So that's my Tedertainment contribution here tonight.
Nice.
Love it.
Yes. But I'm gonna
Gotta
stick
love
to
those music docs.
Yep.
Once you get to Dahmer, I'll be curious to hear your review.
Like these untold documentaries they keep shelling out, like the sports ones. Ted's like on the feeder system for these music ones. They just they recreate them, different bands, same sort of shell, and just keep uploading them. And Ted's eating them up.
Well,
It is funny,
you guys
like
are.
you see Dahmer, like you mentioned, Jared. Dahmer's everyone's talking about social media. Everyone's talking about this show.
Mhm.
So that's on Netflix. If you hop on Hulu, there's like 3 different versions of the show. Like they put it on the home screen because they know everyone's talking about it. So let's put this stuff in everyone's face.
Yeah.
And it is kind of like just different versions. Different actors, maybe a different spin.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But
What
like
Hulu
this is the
has-
one to watch with the lead actor and all that. This is the one to watch.
Hulu has a couple that they're putting up there trying to get people sucked in, thinking it's the one that everybody's talking about. That's pretty good marketing, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone knows the one everyone's talking about is the one on Netflix because
it's pretty formulaic how they do it, man. Like we saw with Bundy. Get a star actor, Zac Efron, and put him in this series. And
and then
there'll be
next
another
thing
one
you know,
coming. Who's the next? Who's Wayne Gacy? He'll be the next one. It'll be played by I don't know, whoever looks like him.
Jim Belushi.
Seth Rogen.
There you go, Seth Rogen.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Good stuff.